It's honestly becoming quite scary what AI can do these days, but it's also really exciting because the possibilities you can use it for are actually insane and can help you save a lot of time and in some cases also a lot of money. Now what I'm referring to is having AI control a browser instance and then automating browser tasks. So in this video, I want to show you how you can use the Roo Code extension to automate a bunch of browser tasks, and that frees up time for you to do other things. Now, I didn't discover this myself. I originally saw this from a channel called Income Stream Surfers, and I'll link the original video down in the description of this video so you can have a look at that too. But let's start at the beginning. If you have no idea about VS Code or vibe coding or Roo Code or Klein, or you don't have any idea what I'm saying, go and watch my previous video. It's an introduction or a beginner's guide to vibe coding, and it'll show you how you can set up VS Code and these extensions that I'm going to use, as well as explain API keys to you and API providers and all of that. So in this video, I'm not going to go in depth on how to get these things installed. I will give you a quick overview of everything, but the whole point of this video is showing you how you can automate browser tasks with these tools and AI. So to start, you'll need Visual Studio Code, which you can download for free. And then once you're in Visual Studio Code, you'll click on this icon here, which is the extensions icon. Then you can do a search for Roo Code and you should find this result. And then you can just click on the install button. I already have it installed, so I don't have the button, but you'll have an install button. You can click Trust the Authors, so it installs the application, and then you'll have access to Roo Code. Now, in my previous video where I explained vibe coding, I used Klein, and I still use Klein as well as Roo Code, but I'll show you the difference here. With the current version of Klein at the time of this recording, which is 3.8, if you go to the auto approve section, you'll see that it has the ability to launch and interact with any website in a headless browser. But if we go to the settings of Klein, we don't have any control over that setting. Whereas if you go to Roo Code and you go to its settings and you scroll down, then you have the option to enable the browser tool. You can change the viewport size, the screenshot quality, and you can set up a remote browser connection. And that's what we're going to use in this video. So once you have Visual Studio Code set up and you have the Roo Code extension set up, the next thing you'll need is an API key. Now in my vibe coding for beginners video, I explained how you can go to openrouter.ai and then create an account. And then once you've created an account, you can just go to keys. Then you can create a key. You can give it a name. I'll just call this Roo Code and then create it and then copy that key, then go back to VS Code and then paste it into the field where it says OpenRouter API key. And bear in mind, you have to set the API provider to OpenRouter as well. And for the model that you'll use, it has to be, at the time of this recording, it has to be Claude 3.7 Sonnet because it supports computer use. At the time of this video recording, I don't know of any other model that supports computer use, but in the future, there's most certainly going to be more models that's going to be released that supports computer use. In that case, you can use those models. So this unfortunately will not be free. If I go back to OpenRouter, I do have some credits here. I've got $6, so I'm going to use it for this video. But just know that at the time of this recording, this isn't free. If you want to automate browser tasks, it is going to cost you money. But that's how you can set up the API key. Then I'm just going to save these settings. Now, if we scroll down and we go to the computer use browser tool section, we are going to need to use a remote browser connection, and we'll have to enter the custom URL here. So I'm going to take you through that step by step. So the first thing that we'll need to do is we need to run this command so we can start a Chrome debug instance, and you'll obviously have to have Google Chrome installed. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do this with other browsers as well, like Microsoft Edge, for example. But in this video, I'm going to use Google Chrome. So I'm just going to copy that, and then to run it, I'm just going to do a search for run. So it opens the run box, and then you can paste that command in the run box down here, then click on OK, and that's going to open a new Chrome instance. Now the thing is, you have to be signed into your Chrome profile. So if you're not signed in, click on the profile icon here and then sign into Chrome. I'm just going to fill out these fields quick. So just sign into your profile and turn on the sync, and then you should be good to go. So the next thing you need to check is, after you've signed into your Chrome profile, if needed, then you can check if it's running with this command. So we'll just go and do that. And then we can see that it is running. Now, depending on the website or app that you want to use, you have to be sure that you're signed into that as well. So if I click on this YouTube button here, I need to double check that I am signed into that profile. So after that's verified, if I go ahead and I refresh this page, you can see that I am signed in to YouTube with that account. So depending on what you want to use, if you want to use X or if you want to use Facebook, Instagram, WordPress, whatever website you want to use in the browser, if you need to be signed in to an account, then you need to double check that you are signed into that account, and you can verify it by doing a search on this page with Control F, and you can type YouTube, for example, because that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to try and automate a community post. But if you wanted to do something on X or Instagram or any other platform, then you would be signed into those. So now that we verified that, I'm going to close those tabs. We'll go back to our commands, and then we've already set up Roo Code, but now we need to add this in the browser computer use setting. So I'm going to go back to VS Code, and then here in Roo Code, where we have browser computer use, we've checked the box to use a remote browser connection, and then I'm just going to paste that, and then we can do test connection, and it's successfully connected to the Chrome browser. So I'm going to save that and then click done. So this is where we can start automating our browser tasks. So once that's all set up, I'm going to make sure that I am in code mode, and then I'll give it this command. You have access to my Chrome profile. Go to YouTube and create a new community post that says, if you're seeing this post, it was entirely created by Roo Code and Claude 3.7 Sonnet, video coming soon, and then click on post to post it. So I'm going to send off that message, and let's see if it can do that. So it's launched the browser, so it can use the browser tool, but I'm going to go back to VS Code because it's going to provide us with screenshots here that it's taking. So the YouTube homepage is loaded. There's a create button. Then it's got a new API request. It's going to click on create post to start creating a community post. So it's took another screenshot of the posts section. It's got the interface now. So it needs to click so it can start typing. It seems it's having some trouble finding the text field that it can type a message in. But now it wants to add a text poll, which is not correct. It's still trying to figure it out. So I'm going to cancel this request, and obviously I can see that you can start typing here. So I can see it's having a lot of issues trying to find the text input field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart this whole task, but I'm going to reiterate on the prompt because I'm seeing that it's having issues with that. So I'm going to copy that prompt and paste it again. So I'm just going to reiterate on this prompt and tell it, if you're having trouble finding the text input field on the community post, just start typing the message. It should appear as the text input field is directly above the icon. So like image, image poll, etc. So I'm going to restart this entire process. So I'll press enter again to send that message. And again, it's opening a new browser tab, and it's going to work off of these screenshots again. So I'm going to go back to VS Code so I can see what it does. So it's got the option to create a post. So it's going to click on the create button to create the post. And now we're on the posts section, and it should be able to start typing now. So there I saw that it said it noticed that the text field is on top of those icons, and it's typed the message. So now it should be able to click the post button to post that message. So it needs to find the post button, which it seems it's having some issues with. So the issue is the screenshot that it's taking is cutting off the post button. So as soon as it scrolls down far too much, and then it doesn't have access to the post button. There it has the post button now in the screenshot. So it wants to create a new post. But if I go back to this page, I can see, yeah, it didn't publish it. So what is it trying to do now? So I think one of the workarounds you can use here is to set a higher resolution for these screenshots. Then it might be able to see the elements better. But as you can see, eventually the AI seems to figure it out as well. And it says it looks like it was successfully published, as it can now see the post creation interface with different placeholder text. So if I go to the page, it has indeed successfully posted that to the community tab on my YouTube channel, which is actually pretty insane. And it finished the task and it closed the browser as well. So it's not using it anymore. And this cost us around 2 cents, 2.5 cents in terms of dollars to do. But what's really important here is if you're going to do these types of automations, then you'll need to make sure that your prompts are working properly. So I already fixed one of the issues where it couldn't find the text input field by explicitly telling it where it can find it. But I'm curious to see if we use the exact same prompt, but we go to the Roo Code settings and we just make the screenshot size larger to change it to large desktop. I want to see if that makes the elements fit better and helps the AI better determine where to click. So I'm just going to copy that And then I'm going to start a new task. But what I'll do before that is I just want to manually delete this post because we're going to recreate it now. Then I'm going to start an entirely new task, give it the exact same prompt. You have access to my Chrome profile, go to YouTube and post this message, send off that command, and let's see if this helps it do this automation a little bit faster. Because now the screenshot size is bigger, the resolution is higher, so it should technically do a much better job. So once again, it can see it's on the YouTube homepage, needs to navigate to the community tab. So it's figuring out all of this by itself, but I guess with your prompt, you can also specify exactly where it needs to click, which will also help it get there faster, but it's figuring it out itself and it's doing a pretty good job. So it's now on the homepage. It wants to go to the Posts tab. It's got a Create button with several options, including Create Post. So that's at the top of the page here. So it's going to click on Create Posts, and now we're on the Posts screen. So it can see the text input area because that's exactly where I told it would be. So it's typing the specified message. There we go. And it should have a better time clicking that post button. So it's going to click the post button, and it looks like the post was successfully published. So if I go back here, yes, the post was successfully published. That's great. It did a much better job this time round. So this instance only cost us 0.81 USD, whereas the previous one cost 0.26 USD. So if you're going to do a lot of browser automation tasks, that's a big difference. But I want to see if I can refine this prompt even more. I'm going to copy the original prompt that I gave it because I want to see how cheap we can get this done. So I'll paste that again, and I'm going to add this to the prompt. Fastest way to create a post. Number one, click on Create at the top right corner of the page next to the notification icon, and then click Create Post. We'll see how much cheaper it is compared to that cost that we had there. So I'm just going to add this to the prompt, and then I'll click Run, and then we'll see how much faster it does this and if it has a better time executing this task. So it's opened the browser again. It took the first screenshot. I want to see if we stay on the browser view here and we look at these screenshots, how it works. So it's clicked on Create. Next, it should click on Create Post. Okay, so it's on the Posts screen and it has the text input field already selected. So we'll see if it can add the text. And it's taking quite a while to type this message. So let me just go back and see what's going on. Okay, so I think the API is just having some issues. It's just really slow at the moment. Okay, so if we go back, there we go. It just typed that message. Now it should click on Post, and it just clicked on Post, and the post was created. There we've got it. So there we go. The post has been published, and let's look at the total cost of this one. Let's close the browser. So let us just finish this task. This was already cheaper than the previous run, but I actually want to try one last thing, and that's to give it this URL, which will take it directly to the posts section. So as the very last example, I'm just going to copy this task again. I'll create a new one, and then instead of giving it the instructions on the fastest way to create a post, I'm going to tell it use this URL directly. Once you are there, you can start typing immediately. So this is the final iteration of my prompt. It's got access to my Chrome profile. I told it to go to YouTube and create a new community post with that message. And then the fastest way to create a post is use the direct URL. You can start typing immediately. If you're having trouble finding the text input field, just start typing. It should appear because the text input field is directly above the icons like image and image poll, etc. And then lastly, I told it once you're done typing, remember to click post. So I'm going to send off this task and let's see how it executes on this. So it opens the browser. It's already on the community post page. I can see that the URL that I gave it is not being used exactly as is, but I think that's just the default from YouTube. The AI already found the text input field, so it should start typing the message soon. Yes, there we go. It's typing it by itself. Now it should click on the post button, and yes, it did. And now we should see the post created dialog. So it sent that post. That's going to stay on there because you guys will see this post before you see the video. But if you go back to VS Code, it says it's published it and that the task has been completed. Let it just finish this API request, and then I'm going to see what the total cost is. So if we go back on this tasks, you can see we started with runs that cost 2 cents. That one also cost 2 cents, and then we went to 1 cent, almost 2 cents. But this happened after we changed the resolution of the screenshots that it uses. We set the viewport size to the largest available at the time of this recording, but I didn't change the screenshot quality because that's going to probably cost you a lot more when you change the quality. So I just left the quality on default, but I changed the resolution because it had trouble finding the post button because the elements weren't all fitting in the screenshot. And then as we reiterated on our prompt, we got this API cost down to less than a cent for creating a YouTube community post. So I only used a YouTube community post as an example in this video because you guys are watching this on YouTube, but you can imagine that you can use the Roo Code extension to automate any browser task that you want to have automated. The possibilities are endless. If you're using a browser to do it, you can have Roo Code and Claude 3.7 Sonnet do it for you. You can automate those tasks. The most important thing I would say at the time of this recording is you need to know how to reiterate on your prompts so you can give it the shortest path to get the outcome that you want. Because if you give it the shortest path with the correct instructions, it's going to lower your cost tremendously instead of it figuring out where to go each and every single time you run a task. So this was an example. I hope this was helpful to you in seeing how I reiterated on the prompts to get the exact outcome that I wanted. And like I said at the start of this video, this is becoming quite scary, but it's also really exciting with everything that you can do, because you can imagine if you can automate these types of tasks, then it frees up your time to do something the AI can't do, if you understand what I mean. In this example, I gave it a specific message that I wanted it to send, but you can probably just give it a topic and it was going to create a message depending on that topic. You'll most probably just need to tell it the length of the message and so on. But the point I'm trying to make is we're moving into an era where repetitive tasks are going to be automated. This is just one way of doing it. There are many other specialized AI automation tools that you can use to set up different workflows. Maybe we'll get into that in other videos on this channel. But for now, I wanted to show you what you can do with these extensions that we used in vibe coding in the previous video to automate browser tasks. And let me tell you, this is just going to keep on evolving. It's going to blow your mind with where AI is heading and these types of tools that the people are developing. So with that all being said, I really hope you got some sort of value out of this video. As always, I just want to give a shout out to my YouTube members. Thanks everyone for the support. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to all of you guys soon.